High Performance Racing. We've got Otmar Szafnauer and Rob Smedley joining us for our show. In all honesty, a man who's been at the forefront of what it's like to be a race engineer, a man who has led multiple Formula One teams. Could we be at the start of another Mercedes dominance?
I think yes.
I think a period of getting your ass kicked does you the world of good. He's suddenly in one of the biggest teams, in the biggest pressure cooker environment.
You want to see drivers drive at the limit. It's not what it used to be.
So the hybrid era, and went to the big tyres and all the downforce. Fighter pilots train at 3.5, and some of them are black out at 4. These boys are pulling 7G on the left-hander laterally.
Is it time to go back to V8s? Is it time to go back to naturally aspirated? Is it time to go back to the biggest, loudest, fastest engines that Formula One can find? Welcome to High Performance Racing. Alongside me, Rob Smedley and Otmar Szafnauer. Guys, I'm excited for this. I want to know why you're here for a start, because I imagine the world has been asking you to do podcasts for years. Why have you finally decided that now is the moment?
You know the answer.
Money.
Jake.
Yeah, and cash. It's a public service.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We're
with a bit of knowledge.
With a bit of knowledge.
Well, maybe not a bit of knowledge, with a bit of history, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But also I know you two are like super connected still to the Formula One paddock. So I think knowledge is also the answer. I think the breaking news stories are just as interesting for us as the stuff that you guys have done in your careers. But we should start by the fact that this is our first ever show and we've launched on a week where there's no Grand Prix. That wasn't the plan. What's sort of going on behind the scenes on a week like this where Formula One will feel that they should be racing and they're not, from an organizational perspective, from a financial perspective?
I remember just when I started at Force India, Bahrain had some fuss and nearly canceled that race, but we got through it. And our first race in Saudi, all the drivers got up in arms because the Houthis were, there was some missile that...
there was unrest, wasn't there?
There was unrest. And the drivers...
oil depot or something got attacked.
Exactly, which wasn't far away. And the smoke from the oil depot, the drivers had to drive through. And they all got up in arms and said, we shouldn't be doing this. But that went through as well. So I think this is the first time this kind of unrest has stopped a Grand Prix. A big break for everyone.
Yeah. Is that what they'll be thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it. So the last time I remember this happening when we had a break was COVID, obviously.
Huge.
And that was much more indefinite than this is, right? So this is kind of, we know that there's 2 Grand Prix cancelled. The one after will not be cancelled. So you kind of know where the break is. That was much more like uncertain. But I think it kind of upsets, if you take how a Formula One team operates, a good Formula One team, it kind of operates on rhythms. And it upsets the rhythm a little bit. So definitely the guys who are at the front, if you take Ferrari and Mercedes, they'll just be wanting to get on with it because they know that they've got an advantage, and you're never guaranteed an advantage in Formula One. Guys who are at the back will be looking at this as a golden opportunity to try to, can they recoup some of the performance? Can they bring forward some of what, where they would have been in this cadence of racing? They've now got some development time. So I don't know. I mean, I can't see it changing anything fundamentally, but I can remember when this happened in COVID, it does kind of upset your rhythm because you're expecting like a certain cadence and a certain what's the best way? So like the pressure changes, It's
you're
different.
in a real rhythm as a Formula One people. I mean, we've all done it for years and years of our lives.
Yeah, there's upgrade rhythms as well. You know when you're in the tunnel, you see what comes out of the tunnel, what you got to do next. Do you put especially now with cost cap, do you actually put the parts on the car, or do you wait? Do you package a bigger upgrade before you go? But I think you're right, Rob. What this will allow is a big enough break for the teams at the back to bring even bigger upgrades next time they go racing. They will look at this as an opportunity to close that gap, and the gap is huge this year. 2-3 seconds a lap. I've never known it to be that way in my 30 years in Formula One.
So what goes on then? Like when we say the teams at the back, right, we're basically talking Aston Martin and Williams.
And Cadillac.
Yeah, I guess. I sort of see Cadillac different because I just think will they be looking for performance or just reliability?
I remember my first year in Formula One with British American Racing, brand new team. There were 3 people in February of 98 and 225 in March of 99 when we started racing. And although we had reliability issues, we were performant. We were qualifying top 6. And in our second year, we finished 4th in the championship, tied 4th with Jordan. In year 2. Year 2 of a brand new team, British American Racing, had 3 employees, like I said, in February of 98. And 2 years later in Australia, we finished 4th and 6th in that race with a Honda that was 20 horsepower down.
What year was that? 99?
No, 2000.
2000. Yeah.
I remember EJ saying a similar thing. There was what team was new to F1 when I was working with him in 2009 or 2010? Virgin.
Oh, yeah.
Virgin. Marussia, Manor, Virgin, all those different name
yeah.
changes. He used to slate them, EJ, because he's like, I don't know what they did in their first season, but I think he says like we finished 3rd in a race or 5th or something.
Don't forget that was
EJ was really good too in his first year, the 7-Up car.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
'Cause
EJ's right. British American Racing did the same. Stewart did the same.
I think it is harder now. It is harder, right? I mean,
But why? Like Cadillac have got so much money, so many people.
They don't have the tools. So there's a few things. There's simulation tools now that teams develop themselves. So even CFD, you might buy a CFD computational fluid dynamics program off the shelf, but you don't. That's not what you use. You develop it yourself.
Yeah, you develop on top of it.
And then when you develop on top of that, no one can buy that. And if you're a new team now, you can't buy that. Yeah, you might go to Fluent and get the basic program, but that's it. And those tools that those teams have developed over time help them with car development and going quicker, and that's something Cadillac doesn't have.
So how can Cadillac ever be competitive in 1, 2, or 3 years? Like that feels
the
impossible.
The best way to do it is buy the right people.
Right.
Shortcut it through
People.
people.
Because you can't forget what you know if you bring the knowledge with you.
You can't forget what you know, and especially if you're the guy who developed that bit of software that they need. Tire model, give you an example. You don't have a good tire model, your simulator's useless. Can you buy a tire model? Not a good one. Develop it yourself.
All the method. It's never like Formula One. Like people get a bit confused and say like like there's a superstar coming into a team, so that's going to change everything. That's utter bollocks, right? Like
there is no Messiah.
There is no Messiah.
Even Adrian Newey.
No, Adrian can't do it single-handedly.
He can't do it
right?
all. In the day, right, in 1998, 1999, when British American Racing started and all those teams before that, you could test as much as you want. You'd go to a race and then you'd go testing. We'd have 5 cars, right? 2 test cars, 3 race cars. You'd be testing as more than you were racing. When you test that much, how much do you need a driver in loop simulator? 0.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. But now, no testing. Things have changed. And now you need a driver in loop simulator, a good one, that replicates the car. Now you need a good tire model, a good one that replicates the car. You need a good aero model for your driver in loop simulator, a good vehicle dynamics model. And if you don't have that, then you don't do any testing.
And these models are so hard to build and get right.
It takes time.
Yeah, and it takes time. And it takes a lot of, like, we're getting, like, very technical now, but it's a lot of correlation. It's kind of building, so you need really, really clever people who understand modeling, like high-fidelity models.
A bit of mathematics.
Physics, all of that stuff. And then you need to then correlate that, so you need to match that against what's really going on the track.
Yeah, reality.
That's a massive amount of work. Honestly, that is a huge amount. Though that is literally years in the making. So you cannot expect, I don't think, a new team
you got to
come in
correlate CFD to the tunnel,
to the tunnel to the track,
track to CFD. You got all that going on.
This sounds like a big job for Cadillac. Could they pick up points this season?
Tough.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. Of course they can. Freak racers, of course they can.
Like rain and
Yeah, they just need to
Everyone
be there.
falling
Right?
off.
but not in terms of pure speed. In
No.
terms of
Tough.
no points this season.
Tough. Very, very hard.
So let's talk then about what goes on when there's this break. As you've already said, there are some teams that will be loving this. I mean, Williams and Aston, we can talk about them in detail. But I do want to talk about how Mercedes and Ferrari will be feeling, because I think that people haven't really picked up on the fact that this could fundamentally change the World Championship missing these two races. Because those teams have got the advantage. Like Jenson Button in 2009, if you'd have taken away 2 of his race wins towards the start of that Brawn season, he doesn't win the world title.
Yeah.
And that is a genuine thing, that Mercedes could have double the lead after 4 races. Everyone else is then catching up. So this could deny them winning the World Championship, losing these races.
Could, but I think their advantage is so great, it won't. But you're absolutely right. It would have been better had we had 2 more races.
Yeah. And don't forget, like, I think you're right, because what is fundamentally different about a new rule set than a mature rule set, it's how fast people can develop the cars, right?
Absolutely.
Like the cars now have, like, compared to their potential, even the Mercedes compared to the potential, right? If you ran this Mercedes, everybody looks at this Mercedes and says, what a great car. You run this Mercedes against the Mercedes in 18 months' time, and it will be a second and a half slower. It'll look like Neanderthal car.
Yeah.
Right?
Significant difference for Mercedes and the rest of them is the rest of them can look at the Mercedes and say, aha, that's what they've done to get to this level. Mercedes can't look at anybody to say, aha, what do I do next? They got to creatively think of what's coming next to go faster, where everyone else can look and say, okay, so you catch up quicker. The other ones that aren't there, you learn from Mercedes or from Ferrari, or that's what Adrian Newey does. Walking around on the grid, every car, he's learning something, right? And you shortcut that process. Where Mercedes, they're just out there. And you're right, in 18 months' time, that Mercedes will be much quicker, but they have nobody to look at to learn. Yeah, they can look at the others and learn something.
It's a harder job for them.
It's a harder job for them.
But like this 2-week gap, I think that's what we're talking about, right? This 2 race gap, which is a month gap or whatever, when you don't have to concentrate on that grind of just taking the car to the circuit and all of the work that generates. Because it's not just there's a group of people that are over here on stage left, you know, the operational like 60, and then the other people that go to the track, and the rest of the factory doesn't really get involved in that. The whole factory is involved in the race weekend, right?
Yeah.
And so it just takes your focus away from pure development. So if the teams, this is not to guarantee that the teams at the back can get it right in those, you know, with this gifted 2-3 weeks, but it gives them an opportunity.
Yeah. They will develop at a higher rate than the teams up front because they're further back, and B, they can look at what the others have done. And if they're developing at a higher rate and you don't have those 2 races, it'll get closer together, and it benefits those at the back. That's the way I see it.
Obviously, you're my favourite ever team principal.
Thank
Am
you.
I your favourite ever?
You're my favourite
engineer?
ever race engineer.
That's why we're here.
Definitely. Could you just say Felipe baby for me?
Felipe, baby.
I'd be happy
Stay
with
calm.
you're my favorite ever team principal that's alive, because I know you liked Eddie Jordan a lot.
I did love Eddie Jordan, but I also am very impressed by Toto Wolff. I just am, like his leadership, his management. I remember when
Just because he's tall?
I do like tall people.
Yeah,
I do sort of relate
And
to tall
handsome.
people, and he's also very handsome. He also, like, you know, when someone has a bit of presence, he does have that, Toto, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like you sort of feel like you're around someone that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
But, I went to the factory not long ago, and we had a little walk around, and he was showing me. You've probably seen this. They're developing like crazy, building loads of stuff there.
Yeah.
Lots is going on at Mercedes, and
That's where British American racing started, by
it
the
is.
way.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Because
Anyway.
I think people don't often understand that team was BAR, then it was Honda,
Then it was Braun.
then it was Braun.
Well, it's like-
then it was Mercedes.
Then it
It's
was
like
Mercedes.
that to the
Aston Martin.
almost $1 billion complex in Silverstone now. Same team.
But the reverse.
Same site.
The reverse of it.
So
Yeah.
did I get this right then? It went Jordan,
So
Spiker.
Honda was a bit better than BAR. Braun actually won a world championship. Mercedes then won
multiple.
9 of them.
Yeah.
And here, it's gone backwards.
What, from Jordan? You think Aston Martin is? Have you seen the building though at Aston Martin? It's insane.
No, the results.
The results, yeah. So Jordan to
How many Spiker?
to Midland to
Yeah.
Force India.
Yes.
Is that the right way around? Did it go Midland? Did it go Spiker then Midland?
I think so.
I think Spiker the Midland.
Then Force India.
Yeah.
Then Racing Point.
No,
Then
Midland, then Spiker.
Midland Spiker. Racing
Then
Right.
Force India, then Racing Point, then Aston.
best building. worse results. Is that what we're saying about the Aston Martin?
It's a different
setup?
building.
It's a different building. It's a lovely building. But anyway, another lovely
What a
building
lovely
is
building.
Mercedes, right? And
Bosco Quinn.
who's that?
Bosco Quinn.
Who's
Remember
Bosco Quinn?
Bosco Quinn was a deal maker.
For
mate
Eddie.
Of Eddie's. Bosco. Do you remember Bosco?
So Bosco Quinn, I never met him, but I used to park in the spot that had a plaque for Bosco Quinn.
That's right.
He worked night and day, from what I understand, tirelessly to get the small Eddie Jordan factory going. And because he was working so late, I think fell asleep behind the wheel and he was killed tragically in a car accident. And they put a plaque up and planted a tree in his honor just outside of, and unfortunately, nobody knew that story. And when that building went, they also cut the tree down. Shouldn't have done that.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We should start a petition on this show to get the Bosco Quinn tree and plaque put back.
Yes.
Plant a new tree.
It should be somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to investigate that and make it
Should
happen.
be bring back all the Jordan legends into Formula One. I don't mean like bring them back to like resurrect them. I mean bring them back to Formula One. What about that?
Yes. I'm all for anything involving Eddie Jordan and Formula One. Like, I want to keep it going forever. I'd like the Jordan team to come back, but hey. I actually love it when who's driving a yellow DHL car in Indy at the moment and dominating?
Alex Palou.
I can't look at Alex Palou's car without thinking of
Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan.
For
Which I like.
Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Toto Wolff and Mercedes. He has these plaques on the wall there, and it has all of the world championships that they've won and other teams have won over the last few years, but then a load of empty plaques. And when we walked round together, he was sort of saying to me, like, I've put this up here to remind everyone in the team that might be our past, but the history is not yet written, and I want to see the Mercedes logo on all of these next plaques. And there's like numerous of these around the factory everywhere you go. So my question for you guys is, seeing how far ahead they are, with the drivers they've got, the money they've got, the finances, the setup, the history, the knowledge of winning, could we be at the start of another period of Mercedes dominance, a new Mercedes era?
I think yes. I mean, in the past, they were dominant a bit due to powertrain, but also good knowledge of what you need to make a car go quick. So they've had both. And they had great drivers. And I think they've got all that now. They stumbled a bit with the era of ground effect. I don't think they got that right. And
Why
never
sometimes
understood
can a
it.
team not just like sort that out when they're struggling?
That's the beauty of Formula One. It's the same people. They were the only ones, and us after a while, that ran a low ride height car in the rear. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And won with it. Everyone else did the Adrian Newey trick of high ride height in the rear, seal the floor aerodynamically, get more downforce. They didn't, and they still won. And then when the ground effect happened, they probably didn't understand it as well. Couldn't do it.
So why
And
do you think
now
this is
it's
the start
gone.
of a new dominant era for Mercedes?
So I was reasonably close to Mercedes because we had the Mercedes engine at Williams in their last period of dominance. And I think towards the end, there was perhaps a little bit of self-assuredness there in Mercedes that didn't need to be there. You know what I mean? They'd won all these world championships. And you start to, I know what this is like because I remember it at Ferrari. You start to feel like you can dominate anything, right? And that's when it gets really dangerous. And I just noticed bits and pieces of that creeping in, you know, when you would talk to them. I think a period of, and I know they won't mind me saying this, I think a period of getting your ass kicked does you the world of good, right? You keep getting, you know, you kind of think you're the kings of the world and you're going to dominate this sport forever, and then you go through this really fallow period, right?
And you can't get yourself out. You don't know how to get out of it.
And you don't know how to get out of it, right? And that gives you a lot of humility. That resets the whole baseline, right? And you realize that you're all not walking like 6 inches above the ground. You're all not gods. You're all not who you thought you were, right? You've now had your asses kicked. So now it's kind of feet on the ground. like humility, heads down, start working.
I love that psychology answer. That's what I should have said. But I'm going to tell you why I think.
Yeah.
They've done a great job on the powertrain.
Yeah.
And first time ever, there's a powertrain cost cap. You can't infinitely spend your way out of a bad powertrain if you don't have a Mercedes, because there's a cost cap. So that'll hold some of the others back and will allow that advantage they have today to stay. Number one. And number two, there's also a freeze that comes in, a progressive freeze on the powertrain, first time ever. So those two things will maintain their advantage on the powertrain side. There is, if you're so far behind, there are tokens that you can now have to redevelop and maybe even some headroom on cost cap. I don't know the rules that well. I need to ask that question. But you got to be 2 or 4 or more % behind for that to happen. And I think there's talk now of Mercedes not showing their true hand so that Ferrari are still within that 2% so they don't get any further development tokens.
Yeah, but for sure, it becomes like this is what.
But this is the first time ever these kind of rules set.
I hadn't thought about that.
So when the whole token thing come out,
Clever.
When the whole token thing come out, there was some teams that kind of went and looked at GT racing, because GT racing has this thing called balance of performance, right?
BOP.
And this BOP thing is like, okay, if you're a certain amount ahead, in GT racing or endurance racing, they peg you back. I think it's on engine and ballast or something like that. I don't really know.
Definitely weight. And,
right.
Yeah.
So they went to, so some of the teams actually went to the world endurance car teams and said, okay, how do you play this game? Because that's the game, right? Because you don't want to be miles ahead. If you turn up with a Ferrari endurance car or whatever, you don't want to be miles ahead because then you get pegged massively back. So you got to play this game all the time. So yeah, there's no doubt that the top teams are already starting to think about that and how they don't like.
So if you've got that written in the rules that if you're so far behind, you get an opportunity to catch up.
Yep.
And the guy up front for sure is going to say, they're not that far behind.
Yeah.
Knock it back.
And are Ferrari far enough ahead of the 3rd and 4th place teams to try and knock it back a bit, to try and create that gap, to try and get the token? Or is that going too far down the playing games route?
No. That is the game, right? So they will be playing that game. They want to fall back as far into that, into their gap to create a bigger gap in Mercedes. But Mercedes can keep coming back. So it becomes like...
And the sport just gets slower and slower. Slower. Even slower than it is at the moment. I mean, we haven't really spoken, and we'll talk more about Mercedes. I want to talk about Kimi Antonelli and George Russell and what you think of those drivers. I think we should also talk about whether Ferrari can win the world title this year. I want to talk about Lewis Hamilton and that difficult period he was in. We've got some questions from our audience as well. So there's a lot to go through. But as we're talking about the sport getting slower and slower, I mean, you two haven't even shared your views on F1 2026. Like, have Formula One broken their own sport this season?
It's definitely different. And for me, what they got to fix is you want to see drivers drive at the limit. And I don't think with the formula we have today, they're driving at the limit the entire time. There are times where you're saving battery because that's the quickest way to the end. And I don't know if they've broken it, but it's not what it used to be.
But weren't they previously saving tyres and before that saving fuel? And like, Formula One, has Formula One ever been an out-and-out sprint?
Not for a long time.
But definitely in qualifying.
Is it not still in qualifying?
No.
Is it not?
No.
Why have I missed that then? What's going on there?
Because you've got this energy imbalance, right? That you can
run out of battery
less than you can use. So you can't use you can use much less on a lap than you can actually harvest on a lap. So it becomes, so you've got to play all of the, I mean, and it's always been a little bit like this with, like, since we brought in the KERS back in the day, that you're playing all of these games with it. But this now is like, there's a clear, like,
it's too much
energy imbalance. And so the drivers can't drive the cars flat out. They have to like do
not
this
even in qualifying.
Super clipping on the straight.
Yeah. And not in the race, not even the race either. And yes, there are times where, if you ran a little bit less fuel, you're lap time was better, so you'd run a little bit left. There was a bit of lifting coast towards the end of the race, but that's nothing compared to what's happening today.
But aren't we like just stuck with it? Like I see all the drivers moaning, worst it's ever been, not enjoying it.
Yes, is the answer.
Like
We're
this
stuck
is
with
it.
Yeah,
This is how Formula One looks for the next few years. And I actually think the amount of overtaking I've seen in the first few races, as someone that doesn't know the technical details that you know, and I sit and watch every race with Sebastian, my 10-year-old, mate, when we were watching Lewis and Charles in China, lap after lap, having a go at each other, my boy was jumping around in front of the telly.
I think that's great.
That's what like that, and he's not done that for seasons. Like, he hasn't done that before.
As long as that's not artificial,
and
it'll continue, it'll be fine. But I think once everyone sorts out their energy usage of the battery, all that kind of stuff goes away, and you'll have processional races. There's a thing in IndyCar for a couple of years called the Hanford device. Do you remember that thing?
Yes. What was it on
So
the rear wing?
As on the rear wing, that just created less drag for the car following.
That's right.
Much less drag, to the point where even though you lost downforce, you could easily overtake. And they would have, on an oval, 300-400 overtakes. But at the end, you never wanted to be leading because you wouldn't win. Because the guy behind you could overtake you so easily. And they got rid of the Hanford device because it was artificial.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of overtaking, just like you said,
Yeah.
but it wasn't real.
You know, the other interesting thing is when you've been starved of overtaking, it's the thing that excites you the most. If we're suddenly seeing 150 overtakes a race
And they're not real.
and they're not real, I wonder how quickly then we lose the interest in that, and we're looking for something else to make it exciting.
Go watch a couple of IndyCar races with the Hanford device, and that'll answer your question.
Really?
Yeah. I remember watching it.
I mean, Formula One is an entertainment, right? I mean, as much like my profession is engineer, and as much as I would love it just to be all about engineering, that's quite boring for the public to watch, right? What's the
Especially
number
for
now?
the new fans.
Yeah, 1.5 billion people touch Formula One every single year, right? In some way, shape, or form. Like, what do they care about? Like this, like almost in their eyes, an unnecessary, like new technology in this in the hybridized power unit. What they really care about is exactly what you were saying. You know, you and your 10-year-old son Seb would do. You'd sit at home and you'd watch it, and you'd think, "Oh, this is great! Look, overtaking here, there." Purists won't, Otmar, me, you, Jake, I think, we're F1 purists because we've been in and around the sport forever. So you kind of look at it and go, yeah, all right, great, but a bit artificial. But you got to think about the 1.6, 1.5 billion people who touch Formula One and engage with it. Like, that's what they want, right? They don't want to sit there and go, well, this is a very pure race, and I've seen, the energy deployment, perfect management by George. Yeah, boring. Utterly boring. It's an entertainment. And I think, can I just say, right, shout out to Liberty Media, who finally broke what was an identity crisis for F1. Because I think since we started in F1, it didn't know what it was. It went through such a long period of, is it a technological pursuit? Is it entertainment? Is it sport? And Liberty came in and went,
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Get on with it.
Yeah,
and here's how we're going to shape it. So at least we've got that, right?
Once it's entertainment, though, from my perspective, then you can get rid of this hybrid powertrain. Because the reason for the hybrid powertrain is to lead road cars. And once you say our powertrains don't need, and the technology doesn't need to lead road cars, then just make it entertainment.
Yep.
And you have to do that without losing the manufacturers, because the manufacturers want Formula One technology to lead what's coming in road cars.
Yeah, but do you buy a road car because the technology was developed in Formula One? I don't think the general public do. I certainly would.
No. I definitely don't.
I think,
but that's not how manufacturers look at the sport. We're in it to develop our technology and tell the story that a little bit of Formula One went into that car.
Yeah.
So we've had questions.
But if you can get rid of that, then
that's this
total
question.
Entertainment.
Is it time to go back to V8s? Is it time to go back to naturally aspirated? Is it time to go back to the biggest, loudest, fastest engines that Formula One can find?
To me, if it's all about entertainment, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Because a big part of the entertainment to me was the noise.
Yeah, of course it was.
God, can you What is the first time that you ever remember being at a Formula One race and actually hearing it? Mine was 2008 in China, my first ever Grand Prix. Like,
Unbelievable.
you growing up around motorsport, you two. I'd never been to a race in my life. Then I got that job.
1984 Detroit Grand Prix.
And what engines were they running then?
That's a good question.
V10s?
It would be a mix. 84 was a mix of V12s and V10s.
And what's your first memory of like hearing that noise?
My first memory was I couldn't see the car because it was coming down the straight. This is in Detroit. And it was a long straight with a 90-degree left-hander. And I could hear the car, and I'm thinking, just through the noise, there's no way they're going to make that turn. There's no way. They're all going off. And what astounded me was the braking performance and actually braking so late. The noise, then late braking, and actually every one of them made that turn.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I thought, man. I thought, number one, I couldn't do that. If I'm driving that car, there's no way I could do that. And two, I was surprised that everyone did it. They all got through there.
And the noise.
Insane,
right?
What's your first memory of it?
88, Silverstone. So we paid for, my dad got us Friday tickets and forced me to go. So I was like, man, I don't want, fucking, what's this shit? Like, let's go. So we went to, and so he got us general admission. And then I remember walking through the woodcut stand.
Yeah.
You know where the woodcut corner is, onto the old pit straight. Walking through there. And I think first of all, like a LaRousse or something come past, and then a McLaren with centre in it. And I was just like, fuck me, what was that? Right? This thing come past so fast. And I was like, how is that even on the track? Exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
how is that even on the track? And now, like years later, when I haven't had to like be on the pit wall or in the garage during the race, I always go out, right, to remind myself. I go out when I'm at Silverstone to Beckett's. Have you ever stood at the side of the track at Beckett's?
I have.
It's very privileged, right? I mean, not in the grandstand because you're a bit far away. Like if you can stand where the marshals are, and I've done it a few times, it is insane. These things are like fighter jets on the
Absolutely
on the ground. I can remember. Here's a good story of it. I can remember we went to not pre-ground effect, so the hybrid era, and we went to the big tires and all the downforce. And I remember the first practice, both of our drivers. So I was at Williams, and both Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas, they go out, they do their first run in P1. I'm allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. They do their P1. They pull up outside the garage, you know, like the cars come down the pit lane, and they always point towards the pit wall. And then the mechanics pull them in. And both of them, so I used to listen to both of them, and both of them in stereo went, fuck me, it's fast round here now. Like through that thing. Yeah. And then I remember seeing Sergio in the paddock afterwards, and he was like, oh man, this is so fast through Beckett's now. It took them like all of Friday and a bit of Saturday morning to get used to it. It was that fast. It's unbelievable. I mean, you're pulling the first left-hander that you do on the entry to Beckett's, 7G, right? Fighter pilots train at 3.5. And some of them are black out at 4. These boys are pulling 7G on the left-hander laterally, right? Yeah. And then 4.5, even 5 probably now, or 5 just before this rule change into the next right-hander. Unbelievable.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because like F1 has never been more popular. But I go to races with friends who've never been, and they go, oh, it's so loud.
Yeah.
In your head, your head's going, it's so annoying. Yeah. I wish you were here 15 years ago. Like this isn't it.
Nothing.
This is not it. And it's like,
and for me, the crescendo at the start of a race.
Yeah. Around Monaco. Do you remember Monaco at the start of a Grand Prix?
Every car.
Bouncing off all the buildings. Man. We've got to find a way of getting that back into the sport. Because it's like, F1 is amazing and it's so popular. Imagine if we now, into this world of Formula One,
I agree.
Put those engines and that, you know, when they were like otherworldly creatures, the cars, weren't they? They felt like alive. Now I think you look at them and you don't feel that. Like,
you feel less of it.
Well, they're so much bigger. I know we've gone a bit smaller with this generation, 200 mil, but they're still big cars. I mean, if you see them against an early 2000s car, 600 kilograms, those cars, right? You take like a little Formula 4 car now with 160 brake horsepower, so like 4 tiers down, that clues in the name, Formula 4 from Formula 1. They're 600 kilos with 160 horsepower. These things were 600 kilos with like 900 horsepower.
Yeah.
These
Absolutely.
were machines.
Yeah.
Okay.
2004, we had 968 horsepower out of a naturally aspirated V10.
And the big difference there was, and I don't want to play like, current Formula 1 and all the rest of it, but the big difference there was you couldn't get a 16, 17-year-old step into those cars and be quick. Because they were just like, my God, what have I got into here? And it took them half a season before they even got on top of it. Times were different back then, so they could have
You
done...
don't even get half a season now.
you could have done 30,000 kilometers or whatever.
You get half a race for people to make their
4 or
decision.
5 races and you're out.
Let's talk actually about the drivers. We were talking about Mercedes before. I do want to sort of just touch on George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. I'd like to know how impressed you guys are with Kimi Antonelli, but I also want to know whether you think that what Mercedes have there is a driver pairing good enough for the car. Is that a driver pairing
Definitely.
to carry them through?
Definitely.
Totally, yeah.
Definitely.
Why?
100%.
Well, to me, look, at the beginning of the season, you always get better odds if you bet on the world champion at the end before the season starts. And for me, I thought George, when he was up against Lewis, who was one of the best ever, held his own. Probably more than held his own.
Yeah,
Beat him
definitely.
at the end.
Definitely.
Right? Beat him at the end. So George definitely good enough. Won everything coming up through the lower formulas. And now you can see how good Kimi is relative to George.
Yeah, I still think like it will take a while. I mean, it goes back to what I just said, like putting a 16, 17-year-old in these cars or in the old cars, forget
Old
about
cars,
it, right? Nobody ever did it. They needed years, a lot more training. It's easier now. It's still hard, right? So Kimi, and don't forget, Kimi didn't have the comfort of kind of hanging around at the back of the grid for a year, right? Being unnoticed. He's suddenly in one of the biggest teams in the biggest pressure cooker environment. That's hard for him. And I think to survive as well as he's done and do as well as he's done and now be winning races. Okay, the race that he won at the start of this year was maybe a little bit down to, there was some misfortune in qualifying, I think, for George.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But Kimi won it.
But Kimi won it. Like George was there in the race without problem. Kimi won it.
And
so
for
he
me,
nailed it.
Miami last year, sprint weekend,
Yeah.
Kimi had never seen that track before. Put it on
Good
pole.
one. Good one.
You don't do that without talent.
Yeah.
Put it on pole.
He's very, very talented. I think he's very good.
I also like the fact that when he got his chance to drive the Mercedes, he put it in the wall. I know people will go, "Oh my God, I can't believe he did that." You remember in that free practice session that
Yeah,
weekend?
I
they were
remember.
announcing-
I remember. Yeah, he
Isn't
was pushing.
Exactly. Isn't there's something great that he had the cojones to go,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for this.
And
Like,
Toto said the most ridiculous thing.
what did he say?
Oh, did you see how fast he went through that corner? Thinking, yeah, too fast. He crashed. For fuck's sake.
But also this season, when he it was too fast.
It was.
What would
But
David,
he was
Clearly.
David Coulthard would say he ran out of talent.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. But like when he had the issue in Australia at the start of this season, and then he had to go out and put a lap in qualifying, having not had an opportunity, and he made it through. I mean, I thought for me that was like legendary. Yes, that was Senna, Schumacher,
He's good.
Vettel, Hamilton.
He's absolutely
levels.
good.
But also he's replaced Lewis Hamilton. Imagine someone going, "Oh yeah, you can replace a 7-time world champion in Mercedes."
Yeah.
Good luck.
No, he's done it. And he's great. Toto Gwen, who looks after their young driver program, done a good job with him.
Let's talk then about Lewis Hamilton, because that has been one of the biggest, most joyful things of the start of this season is seeing Lewis back where I think all three of us would
Happy.
agree he belongs.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Agreed.
That's exactly the point. We
Agreed.
can talk about he's back on the podium, he's back among fighting for points and race wins, but he's happy.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what-
that's what he needs, right? He's always needed that.
How do you mean?
Well, I think he's just always needed that like equilibrium and balance and like to enjoy what he's doing. And I think he's somebody that sometimes has to remind himself of what he has achieved, But then when you see him happy, when he delivers, he's happy. So I don't know whether it's because he's happy he's delivering or because he's
delivering, so he's happy.
Yeah. So like, who knows? But definitely that was an uncomfortable situation for him last year. I don't think he got on with the ground effect cars very well at all. And there's probably a reason for that. I mean, I've never worked with Lewis, but everybody who I know who has worked directly with him or is close to him says that he struggles with a car that is oversteery, you know. And if you look on the onboards, if you watched him all the way, if you watched that, like Mercedes, it translated into the Ferrari. Car was twitchy, it was nervous. Charles will drive around that. He didn't. This year's car just looks a lot more settled and a lot more sane. And he seems to just get on with it. And it's good. And it kind of like, it's always the same with elite sports people, isn't it? Or in any business, right? Once you start getting a bit of confidence is the drug, isn't it? It kind of feeds momentum, and you keep getting better, and you keep getting more confidence, and you're on top of things. When things happen that go against you, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's this year it's a drop in the ocean, whereas last year it would have been another disaster, and I can't stand it, and I don't want to be in the car, and this year's a nightmare, and all the rest of it, and it all compounds. So his confidence and what's happening to him is compounding, like it went the other way last year. So good for him.
I'm a Lewis fan for a couple of reasons. One, nearly won it as a rookie.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Very impressive in the McLaren. Two, I like the fact that unless you know him really well, and I don't know him that well. Like I said, I never worked with him, but I've been around for a while and know his dad really well. He works really hard.
Yeah.
He works really hard. But when you see him at the Super Bowl or in New York at some fashion gala, you think, is he really working that hard? But he works hard and he wants it. And you're right, he's happy. But I've also heard Lewis is driven by more the fear of failure than the happiness of winning. Doesn't like to fail.
Is that kind of sad in some ways, though?
Doesn't matter what drives you. If you're driven and you work hard and you achieve, that's what it's about.
I think 90% of the successful people I know are driven by the fear of failure
instead of the elation of winning.
I mean, you know, it's like to win races. I know it's like to win races, world championships or whatever. That feeling is so fleeting, and the more you do it, the more it becomes like great. You know what I mean?
Or like is it because your owner beats you up more when you're failing than he praises you when you're winning?
Did the owners that you work with do that?
No.
No one's beating you up, are they?
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a collective thing. I always felt like it's a collective thing, but it's also a very personal thing. Like when we were dominant at Ferrari, I used to like that feeling of a race win was so short-lived. You know,
next weekend coming.
Yeah, you've got next weekend coming. So sometimes, like when it first used to happen for me, you're on cloud 9 for the whole week, right? And then it would be until the Monday morning, and it got to the point where before you'd even got to the podium, so the driver wasn't even back in the debrief room, you're starting to think, I've got too much to do. I can't go up the podium. I've got to go, I've got to go back to the office and like start to get some stuff done. That's more important than like enjoying this, because on my mind is basically the fear of failure, the next one.
You must have had a moment though where you did allow yourself to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, plenty.
What would both of you point to as that you were like, fuck, I really did enjoy that one?
When Sergio and Leclerc came together in Bahrain and Sergio was dead last and ended up winning the race, I think Sergio's engineering team, chief engineer, tire engineer, we all went out to, as luck would have it, a Mexican restaurant in Bahrain and stayed until the sun came up.
Nice.
It was great.
But you have to do those things sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
It was a great, great Mexican restaurant. It just happened to be in the Ritz-Carlton where we're all staying.
I know that restaurant.
It's wonderful.
That is a great restaurant.
And it's authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
Chefs from Mexico, and we were there until the sun came up because we won that race. So yeah, for sure it happens.
Good. What about yours?
My what? Like greatest?
Exactly.
Well, he's had so many of them.
He doesn't do so. Yeah.
Can't remember.
What was the moment you allowed yourself to enjoy a moment?
I don't know. I think the best moments were always like away from the track environment, like when it was a bit more private and a bit more.
Well, that's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Family. Damn it.
No, I'm not talking about family. I'm talking about going out and getting hammered with the boys.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I think that it was my best memory of stuff like that was when there would be like a small group of us would go. There's a restaurant called Montana, which is the best restaurant in Maranello. I'm sure the people know.
I think it's rubbish. Have you ever eaten in there?
No.
It's like
great.
being in like past Disneyland.
Yeah.
I don't think the food's that good though.
Well, I'm mates with the owner, so like.
Well, if
It all depends on what you order.
If we
But
get,
you know
if we
what
get
to
a
order.
free meal.
Yeah.
Well, but
So anyway, you're in this amazing restaurant, beautiful.
But we go there, and then they'd kind of close the restaurant off for us. And
Yeah,
there'd
that's
only be
cool.
like a few of us, right?
Yeah.
And then it would just get raucous, and then it would be like sun coming up, and it would be. I remember once, like doing stuff like being down in the kitchen and cooking like our breakfast, or Rubens trying to drive like his hire car with his feet through the sunroof, and all sorts of stupid shit.
Hold
like
on.
that.
That's a whole episode. Rubens Barichello driving a hire car with his feet through the
I'll
sunroof.
tell you.
No, he was sat. No, not his feet through the sunroof. He was sat on the sunroof. His feet were going the other way,
Oh, I had this image that he had his, and he was using his hands.
and Michael beside him, like egging him on. And of course, Rubens did it because Michael was egging him on. So,
Like the Pink Panther in the bathroom in the airplane.
That's a reference from a bit before my time.
Rubens came to us after.
he did. What year was that? 2000? No, 6. 6. Yeah,
5.
6. 2006. He was with us in 5.
I remember sitting with Rubens at a race weekend and Rubens saying, I can feel the tire moving on the rim. And I'm like, no way. There's no way. You're making this up. You're trying to impress us.
Yeah.
No. I can feel under braking, the tires moving on the rim. So, all right, let's mark it. And sure enough, 1/4 of an inch it moved.
Yeah.
How the hell can you feel that?
That's
He had an
amazing.
insane feel for the car. reference.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was right.
He was a driver who could feel most. I mean, there's all the legendary stuff about Senna, but Rubens could feel every tiny bit in the car. The thing that let Rubens down, why he didn't win more races and world championships, is he was just too fragile.
Mentally.
Up against Michael,
Yeah.
who wasn't fragile.
Yeah.
Talking of the mental fragile state of Formula One drivers. So Lewis Hamilton, before the podium he got at the start of this season, had gone 16 months without a podium. Could you take us, for our audience, into what it is like for a multiple race winner, in his case a 7-time world champion, to go over a year without spraying champagne on a podium? I just wonder whether you
You
guys
should ask Alonso that, not us.
Well, one day we might get the chance to ask Alonso. But you guys would have had drivers in your care, in your time, that were in a difficult period. I just wonder what you worked out.
I had Hulkenberg, who should have been on the podium numerous times and didn't. He had the record for a while.
So how much, like before the British Grand Prix last season, when he finally gets that podium, how much was he bothered by not being on the podium?
He would never admit to it, but you could tell he didn't want to go down in history as being the one who was never on the podium, because he's an amazing driver. He won everything coming up in year one. F3, F2, what was that A1 GP thing he won?
Oh yeah, I remember A1
Yeah.
GP.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
He was absolutely an amazing driver and then never a podium finish. 2011, I think we were in Brazil, rain race, Force India, my second year at Force India. we have a over 40-second a lap lead on the rest of the field. Remember that?
Yeah.
Hülkenberg should have won that race. Safety car comes out, I think because Alonso was moaning he was so far back. They throw a safety car. I can't remember for what reason. Restart, Lewis Hamilton in a McLaren, right behind Hülkenberg, overtakes him, now leading the race. Hülkenberg, pissed off, on the second time around, turn one, tries to get Lewis. They crash into each other. He had a 40-second lead. Just wait.
Yeah.
Your car is so much quicker. Just wait. He ended up, because everybody was together, right? So it's after lap one, they crash. They go off. Lewis is out. Hülkenberg, 18th, comes back on the track, 18th, because everyone else went by him. Guess where he finished? He went from 18th to 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how good his car was. Should have won
And
that
how
race.
good he
And he
is.
didn't. And how good he is.
Yeah.
And how good he is.
So
you're absolutely right.
has it taken
And how
him that
good he is.
amount of time because of bad luck or bad decision making, or a sort of this weird combination of
Weird
everything?
combination
Yeah.
of everything.
It's sometimes just things just don't work out,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You're doing everything right, or like
Weird
on the
combination
days,
of everything.
Yeah, so you can't do everything right all of the time, and sometimes you make bad decisions, and you make bad decisions on the day when you've got the car, and then you make 99 other great decisions when you
don't
haven't
have the car. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Perfect storm.
What was your secret for getting a driver out of a slump?
Montana.
Yeah, Montana, go and get pissed. That wasn't a bad strategy, actually, every now and again, to get them to relax a bit. I think it was always like getting them to, sometimes when a driver's got a good car and they're in a slump and they can't get out of it, it's because they're just trying too hard. And sometimes, which is not the nature of an elite athlete, is you have to try to peg them back a bit to build it back up. I know that sounds like a bit of a nonsense answer, but I remember a few times with drivers that were just too eager and just trying too hard and weren't, like, they didn't have all the building blocks in place with that particular car that year or whatever. So it's kind of like coming back a bit, basics, and then building from there.
Can Lewis Hamilton become an 8-time world champion this season?
Difficult.
If the answer is yes, we should be betting on it.
Yep.
So we get good odds.
Is it a yes?
I think difficult.
Why?
As much as I want him to do it, I
Totally.
the way I view it, with a few races that we've had, in the wrong car.
Should still be in the Mercedes.
So it's not a Lewis thing.
What will he be thinking, seeing how good that Mercedes is?
I made the right decision with the information I had at that time. Hard for me to predict the future. But had I been able to, I should have stayed.
Yeah. I wish I was in that car. That's what I'd be thinking.
The thing is,
Exactly.
Lewis in a fast Mercedes, like we know the outcome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we know what would happen in that situation because he's
it's
done
happened
it numerous times.
before.
Like he knows the things to do when the car's that good.
Yeah.
But that's it's the Fernando Alonso curse, right? Like the decision making is always the thing. There is an argument though that car's quick enough to win the world title if Ferrari, no,
Well, I mean,
they've got enough time to turn it around.
Yeah, well, we said this, didn't we, before, that we're in a very, like, nascent period of these rules. They've just been born. So
Development race.
So the development can, if Ferrari can understand what Mercedes have done, a little bit more difficult on the power unit, as we talked about, then
harder to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Then of course they can catch up. There's every chance that they can catch up. And then it becomes a 4-driver race, because I don't think Mercedes are ever going to be out of it, right? And that's before we've even allowed for any of the others who are not in those top 2 teams to come into it. So
I think McLaren will get their act together
they
and
will
be up there.
Definitely.
They got the right powertrain. They won it last year. They have the same people, 2 good drivers.
Yeah.
I think they'll be coming through.
And they've shown a few times now, like in that year, which was when they first were resurgent or surgent, whatever, when they first kind of like
Surgeon.
who he used to drive, didn't he, for Williams?
He did.
Logan, yeah.
Yeah.
And he played up front for Norwich. There's loads of sergeants.
Yeah.
There you go.
Logan Resurgent.
Yeah. So when they first become surgeon,
Shittest jokes ever.
yeah, it's dad jokes.
listen.
The least cool Formula One podcast on the planet.
Well,
Well, it's
listen,
definitely
the cameraman's laughing.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks, Cass.
Anyway, when they first kind of had that season, what year was that? 21?
Which team?
McLaren.
They started with not a great car, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then it was like it looked like
That was 23.
23, okay. So it looked
gonna
like they'd made a few tweaks, a few management tweaks, and all of a sudden the car was a rocket.
Yeah.
It's never the case. All of that stuff was planned and happened 3 years before, at least 18 months before, and then you just saw the fruits of it at that point.
Rob Marshall.
Yeah, coincidental with a few changes in management and stuff like that, or a few people exiting, more likely. So they're a team that I think is very resilient. They're a team with like a lot of humility. Like that's what I like when I go and like speak to them. I know like Andrea very well. We work together. A lot of time for Andrea. When you like, he is like a very humble character, and I think he brings that into the race team as well. And I think you have to have, you should always be starting the season thinking, we're one of 11 teams and the other 10 are better, right? Where do we need to improve?
100%.
Right? And I think they definitely have that mindset. Once you allow hubris to kind of creep into it and like this self-assuredness, you're dead in the water. So they're a team that definitely will have already started the season with, look, this is going to be hard. So they'll just grind away at it. And I think Otmar's right. Like they will be a team, I think, that by the mid-season, they're in the mix.
For the world title?
Possibly.
Maybe.
It depends how long if it takes them to the mid-season, then no.
I could see them putting themselves between a Mercedes and a Ferrari, though.
Yeah?
I could see that. Trying to predict the future.
All right. Well, we're pretty much out of time for this episode. We need to talk about Red Bull next time. Should we do that and actually talk about where Red Bull are at and what's going on with Max Verstappen on
Let's
the
do
next
it.
episode? We got a few quick questions actually before you both, from our audience, before we finish. This is an interesting one. How long does it take to put the garage together? And does the team have more than one garage when you have back-to-back races? Because these garages have gone from like, you just stick the car in a garage to, they've got an entire skin now, haven't they, branded up with the team's stuff?
Yeah, so used to be 5 sets of garages, now 6.
Is it 6?
It's
That
6.
many?
Yeah, because so the rule of thumb is if it costs you less to buy 6 than it is to fly 1, you buy 6 and ship.
Yeah.
So they move around on boats rather
On
than
boats rather than planes.
So, for example, even if you have heavy things, especially because flying stuff, it's by weight and also bulk. That's what it costs you. So you can't fly your coffee machine around.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for it 100 times over. So you buy 6 of them and you put it on a boat. Same with garage panels.
Right.
So we're up to 6 sets of sea freight, maybe even more. I mean, I've been out of it for a couple of years now.
But you'd have one set up, you'd have one being built, you'd have one traveling. And then
So
they're all
so
traveling.
the 6 are all traveling except for 1. You set that one up and the other 5. And then when you break this one down, you put it in its sea freight stuff and it goes somewhere else.
So the Australian Grand Prix garage is like,
Might end up in Brazil,
Right.
sea freight.
wow.
But to answer the question, so those guys will get there, like the guys who set the garage up.
Day before, the mechanics.
Yeah, so the guys who set they got there the day before, but it's actually setting the garage up, putting the skin in there and everything. They're there a week before, right?
And then a load of days after.
Yeah, then that team.
Taking it down is quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they all want to get out of there.
Yeah. It's quicker.
They all want to get
And
to the
you're
bar.
usually taking it down and putting it in the sea freight when it's raining.
Yeah,
Interesting. A question
nice job.
from Will. Are drivers worth such insane salaries?
Well, yes, if you look at other sports, it's all relative, right? I mean, if we're not going to get into the moral question, but if you look at other sports of what the elite level athletes in NBA or NFL or Premier League soccer or whatever, football, sorry, all of those top guys command massive salaries and packages and bonuses and all the rest of it. Now, there is a thing with Formula One which has changed quite drastically in the recent past, is the cost cap. So you got the cost cap where almost everything now this year is inside the cost cap, even the market and all that stuff that used to be out. So they've increased the cost cap and they brought all that stuff in. But the top 5 people within the team
Used to be 3. I don't know what the new cost cap rules are, but
the top percentage, but it's definitely a number bigger than 2, are all outside of the cost cap.
It used to be 3 outside of the cost cap, and no drivers in the cost cap is what you're getting at.
No driver, exactly. So,
But is the driver now in the cost cap?
No, the drivers are not in the cost cap.
No. I think they should be, because one of the reasons the drivers get paid so much is the value of winning is high, and they are a big component of that winning.
They become a differentiator.
Exactly.
And they're not capped.
And they're not capped, and it's a differentiator. So you should the team should have to make decisions between paying a driver more and having more upgrades, because they both do the same thing. A good driver might get you 0.2 of a second a lap, and an upgrade might get you 2 to 0.3 of a second a lap. But you have to trade those off. My belief. It's not like that. Now that they're out of the cost cap, and if the teams do get closer together in performance, the differentiator will become the driver.
Yeah.
Once that happens, their salaries go even higher because the value of winning is high. Am I right?
Yep, 100% right. That is 100% what's happening. So, I mean, if you like even we're only talking 5 years ago that we would have said.
Does that make sense, Will? Oh yeah.
Does it make sense? That makes perfect sense.
Will ask the question.
Oh,
right?
Will. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant Will, the producer. Yeah.
No, Will, the question.
Will hasn't yet replied to say whether it makes sense or not, but
because if it makes sense, I thought we'd stop talking about it. Go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Can we?
In other words, can you just...
I was in a flow state.
Otmar, you ruined his flow state.
Sorry.
I can't remember what I was talking about now.
That's a perfect way to end the show.
No, I was just going to say.
I'll tell you what you're talking about. Logan Resurgent.
Logan Resurgent. Well, he was getting paid.
He was getting paid.
Was he?
Yes. He wasn't bringing money.
Is that right?
Yeah. 100%. I wouldn't.
He doesn't trust you.
Well, I know.
I don't trust
I know
him.
the I know the Resurgent family. They're from Fort Lauderdale in Florida.
Good family.
Good family. Yep.
Strong family.
Absolutely. That's us out of time. How was episode 1?
Loved it.
Well, I mean, you're asking the wrong people. We're going to say.
Those guys.
No, these guys.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what you thought of episode 1 of High Performance Racing? I mean, I think as we come to the checkered flag.
Oh, wow. Pun.
Yeah.
So,
Dad joke. We need a dad joke alert.
I got a few dad jokes, I can tell you.
Can you give us one before we finish?
2 peanuts were walking down the street.
I wonder what you were going to say. Yeah.
One was assaulted. And the other one was roasted.
Did the one who was roasted assault the one who was assaulted?
That's why he was roasted.
It's 2 eggs in a pan of boiling water, bouncing round, and one egg says to the other, God, it's a bit rough in here, isn't it? And the other one goes, yeah, wait till you get out, you get your head bashed in. We should always finish with a dad joke.
Yeah.
2 bits of tarmac walk into a bar, and the barman says, what's up with him? And he goes, oh, he's a psychopath. Right, that's it.
I know we're going into spring.
Yeah.
But there are 2 snowmen standing in a meadow, and one turned to the other and said, do you smell carrots? That's it.
Oh, my goodness.
We need to do more of these. We should have half an hour section.
The trouble is, it's our first one, and I've told all my dad jokes now.
Well, my concern is that's been the best part of the episode. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
If you enjoyed that, please hit subscribe, hit follow. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Check out High Performance Racing. We're on Instagram, everywhere else. Rob, thank you very much. Otmar, thank you very much. Hopefully see you in a week for episode 2.
See you soon.
See you soon.